Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of economics with our presentation titled, What is Economics? We'll be exploring the fundamentals, tackling key questions, and looking at various analytical approaches within this important field. I'm excited to take you through these concepts and show how economics plays a crucial role in understanding the world around us. Let's get started. On this slide, we'll review the main objectives for this module. First, we'll start by defining what economics is and understanding the distinction between microeconomics, which focuses on individual markets, and macroeconomics, which looks at the economy as a whole. Next, we'll explore the two fundamental questions economics aims to answer: what to produce and how to allocate resources efficiently. Then, we will identify the core principles that shape economic thinking, such as scarcity, opportunity cost, and incentives. These ideas help us analyze decision-making. Finally, we'll discuss the role of economists, highlighting how they function not only as social scientists studying behavior, but also as advisors shaping public policy. These objectives will give us a solid foundation for delving deeper into economic concepts. Economics is all about understanding how people, businesses, and governments make decisions when resources are limited, but our wants are endless. Because we can't have everything we desire, we face scarcity, which means we have to make choices. These choices involve deciding what goods and services to produce, determining the best methods of production, and figuring out who will ultimately receive the benefits. This fundamental concept helps us grasp why resources are allocated the way they are and reveals the trade-offs involved in every economic decision. The image here of a grocery store aisle is a perfect example. Every item on these shelves represents choices made by producers and consumers within the constraints of scarcity. Scarcity means that resources are limited, so when we choose one option, we have to give up another. This is what we call a trade-off. Economics helps us understand and evaluate these trade-offs by comparing the benefits and costs of each choice. By doing this, we can make better, more informed decisions about how to allocate our scarce resources effectively. This idea is fundamental because it shows why every decision involves giving something up in exchange for something else. Here we're looking at the concept of opportunity cost, which is essentially the value of the next best alternative that you give up whenever you make a decision. Think of it as the cost of the path you didn't take. This idea is important because it applies to all kinds of choices, whether you're deciding how to spend your time, where to invest your money, or how much effort to put into a project. The icon of the compass here is a great metaphor. It reminds us that when we make a choice, we're navigating through different directions, and opportunity cost helps us understand what we're leaving behind as we move forward. This perspective encourages us to weigh our options carefully to make the most beneficial decisions. Here, we're looking at the two main branches of economics, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Starting with microeconomics, this area focuses on the smaller picture, individual consumers, firms, and specific markets. It looks closely at their decisions and interactions, helping us understand how day-to-day economic activities unfold. On the other hand, macroeconomics takes a broader perspective. It examines the economy as a whole, addressing big-picture issues like inflation, unemployment, and overall economic growth. The image of these towering skyscrapers symbolizes the complexity and scale of the economy, reminding us how these two approaches connect individual actions to the larger economic environment. Here we have an overview of what microeconomics studies, broken down into three key areas. First, we look at consumer behavior, which focuses on how buyers react to prices and incentives. Essentially, it's about understanding the decision-making process of individual consumers and what drives their purchasing choices. Next, we explore firms and production, where we analyze how businesses decide what to produce and at what cost. Macroeconomics looks at the big picture of the economy as a whole. It studies key topics like total output, unemployment rates, inflation, the ups and downs of business cycles, and long-term economic growth. Rather than focusing on individual markets or sectors, it's concerned with how the entire economy performs and maintains stability over time. This broad perspective helps us understand overall economic health and the factors that drive change on a national or global scale. When we talk about the big questions of economics, the first one is what and how to produce. Every society has to make decisions about which goods and services to create and the ways to produce them efficiently. These decisions are crucial because resources are limited, so we can't produce everything we want. The second big question is for whom to produce. This is about how resources are distributed among different groups and individuals, determining who ultimately gets to benefit from the goods and services produced. Both these questions shape how an economy functions and how its resources are allocated. When we talk about production choices, we're really focusing on two main questions: what goods and services a society should produce, and how to produce them efficiently. Every society has to make these decisions based on their resources, technology, and overall needs. For example, they decide which products are most important or in demand, and then they choose the best methods and technologies to manufacture these goods. This process ensures that resources are used wisely and that production is both effective and sustainable. The image here illustrates part of the manufacturing process, showing specialized machinery designed to improve efficiency in assembly. It's a great visual example of how technology plays a key role in production decisions. Now, let's focus on an essential question in economics: for whom to produce. This is where distribution comes into play. Economics isn't just about what goods and services are made, it also concerns who actually gets them. Distribution examines how income, markets, and public policies influence who benefits from economic production. It highlights the importance of understanding how different groups within society share the resources and outputs of the economy. Essentially, it's about ensuring access and fairness in who receives what is produced. When we think about the economic way of thinking, there are four key concepts to keep in mind. First, incentives play a crucial role. They show us how rewards and penalties influence the choices people make. Next, marginal analysis helps us understand decision-making by comparing the additional benefits and costs of different options. Then, efficiency reminds us that resources are allocated to maximize overall benefits, ensuring we get the most out of what we have. Finally, unintended consequences highlight that actions can sometimes lead to results beyond what was originally intended, which is important to consider in any economic decision. Together, these ideas help us approach problems with a clear and practical mindset. Economics relies heavily on models and assumptions to make sense of complex real-world situations. These models help economists concentrate on the most important relationships by stripping away unnecessary details. By making specific assumptions, they isolate cause and effect, which allows for clearer analysis. Ultimately, the value of a model is judged by how well it can explain or predict actual economic behavior. This approach of simplifying reality is essential for understanding and making decisions in economics. Here, we're looking at the distinction between positive and normative economics. Positive economics is all about facts and evidence. It helps us describe and explain economic phenomena objectively, without any personal opinions or value judgments. On the other hand, normative economics involves judgments about what should be. It reflects opinions and decisions based on values, focusing more on what ought to happen rather than what actually is. Understanding this difference is crucial because it shapes how we analyze economic issues and make policy recommendations. Here we explore the dual roles of economists as both scientists and policy advisors. First, as scientists, economists focus on collecting data, testing theories, and developing explanations to understand behavior and market dynamics. This rigorous research helps unravel complex social phenomena. Then, in their role as policy advisors, they evaluate different alternatives and provide valuable insights to decision-makers. This guidance is crucial for shaping effective public policies and predicting possible outcomes. Together, these roles highlight the important contributions economists make to both knowledge and practical decision-making. Let's review the key takeaways from our discussion. First, Economics fundamentally studies how people make decisions when resources are limited. This concept of scarcity shapes many behaviors and economic outcomes we observe. Next, we see that the field of economics is divided into microeconomics and macroeconomics. Each focuses on different questions and levels of analysis, and together, they provide a comprehensive understanding of the economy. Moving on. Two main guiding questions help direct how resources are allocated. These questions are crucial because they clarify economic priorities and highlight the necessary trade-offs we face. Finally, economists use models and data to analyze decisions and improve outcomes. This evidence-based approach is essential as it supports informed policymaking and strategic planning. These points collectively give us a clear framework for understanding economic decision-making and analysis.